Call of Duty just revealed all the changes they're making to Black Ops 6, so let's talk about it. First things first, if you're excited for the full release, be sure to drop a like on the video and subscribe, because we will be pumping out all things Black Ops 6, especially on the sniping side. It has been a few weeks since the BO6 beta ended, and Treyarch just put out a blog post explaining all the ways they're improving the game, addressing concerns that they've received due to player feedback. It did also give us the TAC maps to each map that wasn't in the beta. I think that's like 8 overall, and I love that. It gives us a solid idea of what's to come. There's a map called Warhead, I think, that if I'm not mistaken is what Nuketown looks like after the nuclear bomb explodes, so that's pretty badass. But wow, does that map look small. Maps like this make me a little nervous. The issue with some of these 2v2 strike maps that they're also putting into 6v6, they're going to be playable in 6v6, is that because of map voting, I have a feeling that the majority of players will just pick those small chaotic maps for the constant action. It's just like Shipment or Nuketown. They are rarely ever not voted for. So I just hope the medium-sized maps get some love, as those to me are where the Black Ops games shine. Maybe I'm alone here, but I want to see the return of that methodical gameplay as you progress through the map with kills, placement, and map knowledge, rather than just sprinting into chaos. But that's a tangent for another day. Let's jump into the gameplay changes. In regards to sniping, there was one major issue during gameplay, and that was how uncentered the scope was. In every Call of Duty ever, the centered point of your screen is where the crosshairs connect at. But in Black Ops 6, for some reason, the scope would actually wobble off center and out of alignment. In a nutshell, some of the shots you'd expect to hit didn't, even though your crosshair or your aim was on the enemy. Whether this was intentional or not to try and penalize snipers, it's unclear. But Treyarch have now loosely addressed this. They stated there will be improvements to fluidity of sniper aim down sights. Now I feel this statement is open to interpretation. With all the diving, sliding, and sprinting that comes with Omni movement, it felt like sometimes the sniper animation just couldn't keep up, making it bounce all over the place. So they could be referring to that, giving us a cleaner and more fluid animation when aiming down sights. But how do you read it? Treyarch went on to state that weapon balancing will be detailed closer to launch, although they did say that there would be adjustments across all weapons to keep SMGs from overperforming. So this may be a stretch, and I'll put it out there, but one could only hope we get a slight buff to the sniper rifles. The base snipers just need a slightly faster aim down sight speed to compete with the other weapon classes, as the attachments provided for snipers were pretty limited on helping with its ADS time. Sniping overall was pretty tough, as you were adjusting to all the movement changes and them just being a bit too slow, but hey, you know me, if nothing changes, I'll take on the challenge. It wouldn't be a Black Ops 6 video if we didn't discuss Omni movement. I don't know about you guys, but I loved it. Yes, it was a little weird to get used to. Yes, it got a little crazy sometimes, but some of the diving shots I pulled off or witnessed just put a smile on my face. What did you think of it anyway? Now, they did address movement in this blog post with how they'll be updating it. They're improving fluidity overall. They've reduced the minimum time to slide after sprinting to prevent accidentally crouching when intending to slide, also known as a dead slide, which I did so many times. They're also slightly reducing the maximum slide duration. All in all, they're making the player movement smoother from a first and third person perspective. They're also reducing the overall camera motion on sprint, tac sprint, and slide, which is huge. When you have so much chaos going on screen, sometimes it's like the game can't keep up. So that reduction of camera movement at the core of the game will just improve the clarity of the gameplay. It'll make it more fluid, and you can just see what's going on a little better. A nice change for any player though is that they've improved fluidity when swapping weapons during sprint and tactical sprint. Overkill will be such a go-to wildcard to use, giving players the option of 2 primary weapons. I know I'll be using it, so knowing that animation will be smoother while running and gunning is a pretty big win. Another huge win for everyone, but especially those who love going on big kill streaks like myself is the kill counter is coming back to the HUD. I don't know why they ever take this out. This basically tracks your current streak progress, giving you a visual cue of what number kill you just got. Perfect for nuke hunting or just working on bloodthirsty challenges. Spawns obviously were a huge shocker in the beta, where in some instances you'd literally be spawning on the enemy. So thankfully they've addressed this issue. They said one of the most important reasons we have a public beta is gathering spawn data from our players. Now that we have 2 weeks worth of player data, we've already made big strides in dialing in our spawn logic and identifying and resolving issues within the spawn system. So yeah, we'll see what comes of that. The game's weak headshot damage multiplier was a big talking point, as many players wanted more damage for the skill of hitting headshots, which is understandable, but Treyarch kept their cards close to the chest on this one. They claim they do not want hit location multipliers to significantly affect the consistency of time to kill in Black Ops 6. So we'll continue to monitor the effectiveness of headshots during launch and beyond. Yeah, that's probably a smart move. I guess it made head glitching superior in the beta, but isn't that what like old school Call of Duties were all about? Maybe COD gameplay at its core is changing, so we'll see what comes of it. However, bullet penetration is being tweaked, as they noticed some surfaces were basically unwall bangable, whereas others felt like paper. So those changes could play a part in those dominating head glitching spots. They're also evaluating some changes to cover placement across multiple maps. So who knows, a lot of the beta maps we played may change entirely in terms of cover and power positions. They called out those pesky snipers behind the radar dish on Scud. Guilty as charged. So that's definitely one area they'll be fixing. A random change to note is that the winner's circle duration is being shortened, alongside no more emote spam, as you could only emote once during the animation. I'll be honest with you, I'm gonna miss the endless shushes. They were hilarious. Performance was another big problem for many players. I was on holiday at the time, so I only managed to get like 3 or 4 hours of game time, but I felt like I was one of the lucky ones, as I had pretty much no issues. Hitching and in-game stutters were everyone's worst enemy on the beta, which they have addressed, stating they've been able to chase down sources of in-game hitching and deploy major fixes since the close of the beta. We will be continuing working with experts across all disciplines to improve overall performance for launch and into the live seasons. To be honest with you, performance issues are expected in a beta, but I'm still glad they spoke about them. Coming to a close here though, we've got a controversial one, as stim shots are now on a cooldown based timer rather than inventory based. So if I'm reading that right, you will replenish stim shots over time, compared to something like a stun grenade, for example, which you'll only have like 1 or 2 per life. Unless you get like a munitions box, for example. I mean, I like this change for streak building, but it could be too beneficial in the wrong hands. I don't know, we'll see how that one plays out. There's a few changes to other equipment, alongside perks, kill streaks, and game modes, but I'm sure they'll all be looked at and tweaked over the next 4 weeks up until launch. So nothing really major to discuss there. Overall, I love the transparency we're getting here, and although some of their comments are open to interpretation, I have faith in Treyarch. Black Ops games are my favourite from the series, and I have no doubt that this one will be any different.